Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
The TVC News at 7 and the TVC News at 10 are not like any other news broadcast.
It's the big news hour, the hour for the big breaking stories.
We've got some of the best reporters on the field,
Taking you through as it happens.
It's fast-paced, hard-hitting,
With investigations that matter.
bringing in news that affects your life.
With sport, entertainment, and business news, so you don't miss a thing.
Experience resourceful coverage with depth.
Every night.
Get ready to drive into the world of the Nigerian Navy as Nigerian Navy in Focus, a captivating TV program, takes you deep into the heart of the activities of the nation's maritime centennial. Join us as we navigate the waters alongside the brave men and women of the Nigerian Navy who have dedicated their lives to this noble cause. Their hopes, dreams, sacrifices, and triumphs. Experience their courage, their resilience, and their unwavering commitment to serving the nation and protecting her waters and relentless pursuit of safeguarding our maritime borders. Let Nigerian Navy in Focus transport you to the seas, where bravery meets honor and the depths hold countless untold stories. Don't miss out on this unmissable TV experience. It is the Nigerian Navy in Focus, every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on Television Continental TVC.
Ignorance is the mother of personal destruction, a voluntary misfortune, and it is worse when you are ignorant of your ignorance.
You and Your Health with Dr. Richard Okoye is brought to you by Dr. Civilite Foundation as he uncovers the mystery behind most deadly diseases, their causes, prevention, and latest treatment. Send in your comment and health-related questions. Together, let's liberate Africa from health ignorance.
Hear this, you are ignorantly awaiting the arrival of your wife's menopause. If you have low sperm count and ignore it.
Join Dr. Richard Okoye every Sunday by 3:30 p.m.
Akiwande Oluwole Soyinka was born on 13th July 1934 in Abeokuta, Nigeria, to parents Samuel and Grace Soyinka. His education began with the Christian lessons of his parents as well as the more traditional Yoruba spiritual customs taught to him by his grandfather. He had his preparatory university studies at Government College Ibadan in 1954, subsequently University College Ibadan, and he continued at the University of Leeds, earned a bachelor's degree in English literature. Soyinka's master's degree focused on projects combining his Yoruba culture with traditional British theatre traditions. He later returned to school in Nigeria to study African theatre, during which time he continued to produce poems and plays, one of which appeared on Nigerian television. Shortly after he became the chief of the Cathedral of Drama at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria had only recently gained independence from Britain and political corruption was at a high. Soyinka's plays and poems became increasingly political and he began giving speeches protesting government corruption. He was accused of conspiring with the Biafra rebels. He was therefore arrested and imprisoned in 1967 for almost 2 years during the Civil War, but managed during his time to write numerous poems. He was finally released in 1969 after a brief period in France. He returned to his position at the university where he founded the magazine Black Orpheus. He left his position and Nigeria in 1971, wary of the political climate of the country. During this time, he published books of poetry and essays. His plays were collected and published, and newer plays were staged. In 1986, he was the first African to win the Nobel Prize in Literature for a wide cultural perspective and with poetic overtones fashioning the drama of existence. He dedicated his acceptance speech to Nelson Mandela and used the platform to criticize apartheid. Later that same year, Soyinka was awarded the Ajib Prize and in 1988 published his book Mandela's Earth and other poems as well as art, dialogue, and outrage, essays on literature and culture. He also accepted a position at Cornell University. Throughout his life, he has served as a spokesman against apartheid and government corruption. He has won numerous other awards for his work, including the Anisfield Wolf Book Award, the Academy of Achievement Golden Plate Award, and the Ajib Prize for Literature, and he has taught at many prestigious universities including Emory University, Harvard, and Obafemi Awolowo University. In his lifetime, Soyinka has published 2 novels, 3 collections of short stories, made 3 movies, translated 2 novels, 5 memoirs, 7 poetry collections, 13 essay collections, and produced nearly 30 plays. He holds honorary doctorates from numerous universities and has been invited to teach in schools around the world. He continues to write prolifically in spite of a bout with prostate cancer in 2014. Wole Soyinka, the Nigerian playwright and political activist, has positioned himself as a voice of the voiceless through his piece of art. He has distinguished himself as the African icon that continuously makes a mark in African literature and the world at large.
Experience information and entertainment like never before as TVC Breakfast takes your weekends to a whole new level. Introducing TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, your ultimate source of thrilling sports updates, insightful political analysis, and captivating entertainment news. Stay in the know with what's trending, catch up with the latest in sports, and immerse yourself in the latest buzz from the world of music and movies. Your weekends are no longer just days off, but moments packed with knowledge, excitement, and enjoyment. TVC Breakfast Weekend Edition, only on TVC News.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to extract.
Hello folks, I greet you. Welcome to another program in the series Journalist Hangout. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Now today on the program, Lagos Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu gifts LASU's best graduating student 10 million naira. Tribunal finds MultiChoice 150 million naira, orders DSTV and GoTV to give customers 1 month free subscription. And later on, we'll share this with you. Federal government fails to agree with organized labor on a new minimum wage, as governors reject 100,000 naira proposal, opt for 70,000 naira. Well, I'm hanging out with good old Asukwo James. Asukwo, good evening to you. I greet you. Good evening. Yeah, Asukwo, we are joined by gentleman Paul Dada. Paul, I greet you too.
Good evening. I greet you back.
Yeah. So the team is ready. I hope you are. Okay, then let's go. You know, the reward for work well done, they say, is the opportunity to do more. For Olani Olawale, the best graduating student of the Lagos State University, LASU, it was more than the joy of bagging a degree. Olani Olawale, who finished from the Department of Accounting, graduated with a cumulative grade point average CGPA of 4.98. Now, for this feat, the student was awarded a 10 million naira gift by Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. We share your elation, sir. But then, let's share the moment with you. Come with us. Let's go there.
We have a responsibility to send a strong message out to the academic excellence that we must not underestimate or take for granted in our society. Our young people, they must see reason to hunger For with the same energy and enthusiasm that is reserved, that there are days ahead of them to excel, not only in academic, but in artistic and in sporting successes. And so I want to congratulate Olani. This is a moment of great pride, not just for you, but for all of us. And for me personally, to celebrate and to honor you, I will announce a very small token of 10 million naira recognition.
Obviously, the reward for work well done is the opportunity to do more. Paul?
Yes, we must...
imagine if your son was the one who bagged it.
Of course, it's the joy of every parent to see that their child is actually achieving feats in their chosen endeavor. So I really want to commend Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu for rewarding intellect. I think with this we are saying that, okay, it is not only those who are busy showing, doing shows that where they parade nudity or near nudity that need to be rewarded, because we have a lot of people doling out content that has nothing to the brain, and they are laughing to the bank. If there are some of them are even being sponsored by corporate organizations for the content that is not adding to anybody or anything. But Olani Olawale has made his parents proud, has made Lagos State University proud. But like the governor said, there are so many other Olanis there, Olawales there, who cannot afford school fees.
Yeah.
There are many Olani Olawales there who cannot, whose parents are very, very poor. I think that the society should put a system in place for us to encourage such people. We already have the students' loan scheme. I think that even states should replicate something like that.
Yeah, but Paul, before we came on air, I teased you about late Professor Chinua Achebe.
Yeah.
He wrote Things Fall Apart at the age of 28. So, Paul, I'm looking at a 28-year-old graduate of the now generation. And so you are wondering what happened in the 30s and 40s and what should happen now. Consider that Professor Achebe wrote the book without the aid of Google.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we're discussing this. Honestly, I find it difficult to come to terms with the contradictions we have now. Because our young people have information at their fingertips. You know, all of it is there on Google. And they just need to go to the right portions on the internet to get the right information. You know, I was telling you before this time that, that when I was very, very young, there was no internet there, but I naturally sought knowledge. You know, I told you, when I was still in the
Well, great journalists are not made, they are born.
Yes, but unfortunately, you have so many young people today, all they know is entertainment. And not even
Maybe you are getting too old for this generation.
No. But I think that we need to reorientate the mind of our you know, we are turning out a lot of graduates who are not marketable, who just have the paper, you know, just have the degree, but they don't have knowledge. They don't have what it takes to really compete with their counterparts.
You didn't think our emphasis, that we became a heavily certificated country. You don't think it was going to affect us?
No,
if you understand what I mean.
Yes, I understand what you are saying. I was reading an interview by Wole Soyinka. He granted an interview, and he was talking about the fact that nowadays you don't get to see, you know, children, even schools, going on maybe excursion to museums. You understand? Not many schools do that. It's not to museums where you can learn even outside the school system. It's all about just sitting down, cramming, pouring, and forgetting. You know, they cram what the teachers teach, and then they pour on the CPM, what we call the CPM principle, and they pour on the day of exam, and then they forget about it.
Yeah.
Now, in those days...
Because essentially, they read to pass exams, that's all.
That's what they do. So you now find people that are graduates, but they don't have the knowledge to actually compete. And those who stand out are those who know how to make use of information, who search for the right kind of information, even beyond what is being taught in the four walls of the institution.
After all, we're in the information age.
And information age. So for me, it's an irony of situation that we have so much information at our disposal, and then many of our youngsters are not even going after such information. It's terrible.
All right. Just to inform you, we expect Asukwa James to join us later on in the show. Let's go to our next story. You know, for MultiChoice, a major satellite television in sub-Saharan Africa, and GoTV, a minor service provider, these are not the best of times. The Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal, CCPT, slammed a 150 million naira fine against MultiChoice for disobeying its order on subscription rates hike for DSTV and GoTV packages. In addition, the Abuja Tribunal has ordered the pay TV operator to give 1 month free subscription on the two platforms to all its Nigerian subscribers. Now, this is for flouting its orders. Daniel has come to judgment, won't you say?
Yes, and deservedly so. We are in a country where people don't regard authorities, even judicial authorities. You know, it's a shame that a foreign company operating in Nigeria, making a lot of profit in Nigeria, cannot obey a simple court order.
Yeah.
Now, the tribunal said, no, the contention, the man who took them to court, MultiChoice to court, said the notice that was given to the subscribers was too short. And then the court gave an explanation, the temporary or the interim order, you know, that, okay, suspend
the hike.
Suspend the hike for now. They still went ahead, and they still went ahead to increase it. And I think it's very bad. Now, MultiChoice should know, one of the problems we have is that I think MultiChoice has not got a strong competitor. You understand? Has not got a strong competitor. You might remember that the telecoms providers, the earliest telecom providers, they were forced to do per second billing when Globacom came on board. You understand?
To show that it can be done.
Yes, MTN and the then EchoNet, which used to be EchoNet then, you know, even if you made a call for 2 seconds, they will bill you for one minute.
Yeah.
So when Globacom came and brought a revolution, the older telecoms providers, what did they do?
They yielded.
Exactly. The older telecom companies, they yielded. And so the same thing. Already, although we already have, people are already thinking of alternatives to MultiChoice. People are already thinking of alternative MultiChoice. I wish that we have very, very strong pay TV networks, you understand, that can compete favorably with MultiChoice. By now, we should be talking about pay-per-view. Some people have stopped subscribing.
Yeah, and you know, you pay even when you are not around.
Or even when you don't have power for...
Yeah.
You know, there was a time that power situation was very bad.
Yeah.
Some people did not have power for almost a month. And then they had subscribed to a plan on MultiChoice.
Paul, I tell you that the Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal sounds new to me. I never knew there was such a tribunal.
They actually exist. They actually exist. It's just that people need to test more cases in courts.
Yeah.
You know, people cannot just take things for granted and say, okay, a company can come up with any pricing or do anything, and then, you know, many Nigerians don't like to They don't like the stress of going to court and all of that. These tribunals...
Oh, we are not litigious. we leave everything...
Sometimes we leave everything in the hand of God. Just, God will judge. God. So companies cannot be ripping up Nigerians and then we just sit there and say, leave it to God. When we have systems, when we have structures and institutions that can really deliver Nigerians from overbearing institutions and individuals.
Especially at a time like this.
At a time like this. In fact, I don't even know why MultiChoice. I mean, what will the company go under if they had at least suspended the hike?
Yeah.
It will go under. This is a company that has made much money for Nigerians. That's enjoyed lots of goodwill until lately that people are now beginning to think that, look, we are done.
Mm.
I know people are thinking like that we are done. Let's seek alternatives. People who have smart TV now are now saying, what's the point? Even, having subscribing to a pay TV plan, when I have smart TV, all of that. And a lot of people also depend on using their mobile devices to even watch football games and all of that. So I think MultiChoice had better sit up. I expect MultiChoice to just comply with this order of the court. Because already, MultiChoice is losing its goodwill. It's a fact. Some people may not like the tone of my voice, but the fact is that it is true that they are actually losing their goodwill.
Yeah.
And they have disobeyed a court order, which has come up with a comeuppance. Now, they should obey the court order. They should obey this order. They should pay the fine.
Disobeying court orders, can you really blame MultiChoice here? What? Because they see many powerful people in our country, my country, your country, disobeying orders.
Yeah, that's the truth. But
for once, if we back and bite, if the law backs and bites.
You are exactly right, because we have powerful men, people that are powerful than institutions.
More powerful than the...
Look at the charade that has been playing out in Kano with politicians using the courts to serve their own ends. So, but then, people have to be made an example. Companies, if legal persons like, if a company is also a legal person, has to, they have to be, made an example. So that we can say, yes, let's respect our institutions. We have institutions in this country. People cannot be bigger than institutions.
All right. Paul, I hear that we can team up with Asukwa James on Zoom.
All right.
Talk about the wonders of science.
Okay.
So, Asukwa, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But I have to do it.
Okay. Let's have you weigh in on this issue. The problem... Yeah.
On the DSTV?
Yeah, DSTV, yeah. Let's start from there, and then we can at least quickly touch the first story we broached.
Yeah, I think that of the DSTV, I'm just very concerned about how people really disobey our orders, especially court orders, with impunity. If the court has said, do not increase or come and appear before me, I think it's expedient for people to obey law. I've noticed this thing for some time now. People just disobey court orders for no just reason. They will just tell you they don't care. It's just like everybody just wants to live anyhow, and then they like in the country, and which is really wrong. I like what the justice actually said. You must obey the court order. You must come before me, appear before me to face, to come and defend yourself. Because for you to just increase, a price for no just reason, giving no matter what, even if you are, because I know the FCC PC They are saying it's because of forex, it's because of high cost of the price of generator. They gave reasons. It's for you to have gone to the court and then you explain yourself. A citizen who was affected by your increment actually took the matter to court. So first, go to the court, appear before the judge, and then make your case. So whatever the judge will now say, then you'll be able to know if you will appeal or not. But for you to just disregard the court order, saying that you have already done the configuration before the expiration of the court order came, it doesn't hold water. First, obey the court order. If you had even done it, go back and reconfigure. It's system, it's technology. Go back and reconfigure based on what the already said. And from there, you go back. By the time you win the case, you go back and reconfigure again. I paid the higher amount. I paid the higher amount for this. But I wasn't happy paying.
Asukwa, you are not alone there. I pay too. Yeah. Am I happy paying a high tariff?
So I paid, but I was not happy because I thought that since the court has said do not increase, they would have respected that court order.
Yeah.
And I think all Nigerians who would have been shocked that when they wanted to, renew their subscription, they also paid higher fee. So, but for now, MultiChoice has to go to the court. And I'm happy that they are giving us free 1 month subscription.
Yeah. By the way, the man on the street is interested in knowing when this takes place. From what time?
Well, if the court has said today, like it happened today, so it means that if I'm going to, thank God that mine is going to expire in the next 4 days, so if I still have to pay higher, it means I also have to find a way to also look for a lawyer to go and also.
Asukwa, if you are heading for the court, take Paul and I along, please.
No problem.
We are also subscribers.
All right, so exactly. So I think people should learn to respect court order because the level of impunity is just getting.
It's too much. Yeah.
All right. Quickly. Can you weigh in on Olani Olawale, breast graduating student at LASU? 4.98 CGPA.
This is what we want to hear about, the youth in Nigeria. People who, despite every challenge, they want to go all out to make sure that they come up to school. And coming from a very humble background, a son of a wood seller, he didn't allow that to, deter him in any way for him to come out in the tops. And funny enough, this is a faculty that most people used to say that faculty, there's nothing in it. As in education, faculty of education. People just feel it's those who are not too intelligent or too bright at to go to education. Everybody wants to be engineer. They want to be doctor. They want to go into medicine. For education, people want to. It is because you didn't score that cutoff mark. But look at it now. He has made a mark for himself. And I'm very proud because he's not the first person that I've seen that. Because I know somebody who read statistics education, and he was a banker. He was a banker. So for him to have come tops as accounting education, who read accounting education. It's just because most times they just feel if you are in education, you should be a teacher. But this one was a banker. So he has a huge prospect ahead of him. He has great future ahead of him. And he said something which I think I need to read, and it's very, very germane. It's a profound word or statement from him. He said, "Remember, grades do not define us. Our critical thinking and skills are what defines us."
Yeah.
Our certificate is like a receipt, and our capabilities are the product. And receipt is worth less. If the product is not valuable. I think all youths in Nigeria should take this quote and see whether it will do good for them, especially those who are still in school. It was just something profound that when I listened to him, I was amazed.
Yeah, thank you, Asukwa. We will be getting back to you, in the very near future. But a word of advice for as many students as create the time to watch journalist Hangout. You don't get educated at school. You only get taught. But what you do with what you are taught constitutes your education. I wish you well. I wish you well. Okay, we'll go on a commercial break now. Please don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Morning, Marina Station and all the passengers.
Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are a long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, decisions on policies, programs of government. I will have to ensure that, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
This is a major pedestrian bridge linking Oyinbo here to Apapa Road over there.
With this overpass, we are providing what we call permanent solutions.
This place is one of the most dangerous areas at the biosecurity environment.
This can go into the news and every crumbs of your neighborhood.
Our goal is to remain as Africa's model megacity, to move our GDP from the 5-6 position to the 3rd position, and we believe it's achievable with all the commitments we have.
Explore the city of Lagos, where dreams are made and possibilities are endless. Amadedoja Salamadini. I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
All right, welcome back, folks. Let's go to our next story. The battle of nerves between the federal government and organized labor appears not ready to end soon. 3 days after suspending its strike and the expiration of the 48-hour deadline handed down by President Bola Tinubu to the Minister of Finance and coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wole Edu, there seems to be no agreement yet on a figure that should be the new minimum wage for workers here. Now, meanwhile, a touted 100,000 naira offer was flatly rejected by all the 36 state governors. They say that any wage higher than 70,000 naira a month is not just unaffordable by them, but unsustainable. So it is not yet Uhuru.
Yeah, it is not yet Uhuru. Actually, it was 105,000 that was being touted, and the federal government says no, that is not what the coordinating minister of economy actually
meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we don't know what the federal government will offer labor, and we don't know how the federal government will persuade labor to accept whatever it is offering. And we don't know whether labor will be persuaded. However, I am uncomfortable with two things. I'm uncomfortable with the fact that the governors came together and said they could not pay beyond 70,000 naira. Now, this is it. There are states, personally, I think the minimum wage should not be below 100,000. Now, and I know that there are states in this country who can pay as much as 100,000.
Okay.
Okay, who can pay? There are states, if they put their mind to it, Lagos can pay 100,000. Rivers can pay 100,000. But I also understand that there are some states that can't pay up to that. There are very poor states. So, for the governors to come together, governors who govern states with different capacities, coming together saying that they cannot pay beyond 70,000, I think it's not right. I think it is not right for governors to come together and say they can't pay beyond 70,000. I understand that even there are states that are not able to pay 30,000. I understand that. However, there are states that can pay beyond 70,000. That is one. Two, I also think that labor should re-strategize.
Yeah.
Now, whatever you get from the federal government is for federal workers. And for federal workers and those in the organized private sector that can pay. Now, some states will not pay. They don't have the capacity to pay. So it is only federal workers that will benefit from it. Why can't labor negotiate with states, different states? I know there is something called national minimum wage is an act, but the truth of the matter is that maybe we also need to look at the minimum wage each state can pay, can truly, genuinely pay, minus corruption. I know that there's corruption, all of that. You can't compare Lagos with Ekiti, for example. You can't compare Rivers and Ogun with Ekiti State. That's the truth. So, there are states I believe can even pay as much as 150K if they put their mind to it.
Okay.
You understand? So, let the state, let each state decide, let labor, negotiate with each state, and let them decide on a satisfactory and very realistic amount.
The figures we are dealing with are for federal government workers.
Yes, and there are also big companies in the private sector that can pay whatever it is that the federal government offers, probably even pay more. But many states, we need to just be very, very realistic. I think what the federal government, beyond minimum wage, what the federal government should be doing is to find a way to increase the purchasing power of each Nigerian. How do you do that? By making sure that you reduce the rate, the inflation, food inflation rate. You understand? When prices are affordable, it's not about, sometimes it's about what you earn, but it's about what you earn can buy, how much you can buy, this commodity or that service. So government should work very seriously, should put on its thinking cap, and I mean government at all levels, even state, even local governments. Find a way of making sure that you deliver good governance. Prices.
All right. Paul, let's sound Asukwa out again. Asukwa, are you there? Yeah, they talk about a national minimum wage. It appears it's not going to go away very soon. Are you there? We have trouble trying to re-establish contact. But Paul, if we continue, if the...
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay. Asukwa, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, good. So I was saying that the national minimum wage is something that is the must. I think all countries they have minimum wage.
Sorry. Don't lose me quickly. Maximum minimum wage or national minimum wage?
National. Okay. National now.
Okay.
Okay. So when we talk of national, so countries usually minimum wage. So it depends. It's either monthly, we do it daily or weekly. You understand? But I know some countries they do it daily. Outside Nigeria they do it daily. So and it's by hour. Okay, daily but per hour. So in case you work, maybe they can tell you $10 per hour or $15 per hour. And if you are going low, it means that maybe it is not captured by the government. That is it. Maybe you are just doing it under the table job or something. But for this one, we are talking about the minimum wage. So it means that by what is standard, which everybody is supposed to pay, whether private sector, state government, federal government, the lowest, that is anybody that is on that level 1 has to collect that minimum wage. So it means, and none of these 3 people that I've mentioned, which is the federal, state, and the private sector, cannot go below it. So they can't go below 60,000. If it's 60,000, they want to agree. If they can't go below 70, that was why below, when it was 30,000, that is the minimum that any state government or anybody, it means that even the sweepers that Lagos had then, we are paying them 30,000. Okay, which is the level 1. I want to assume that they are paying 30,000. Okay, so for now, if they now agree on a national minimum wage, it means that those who are sweeping, who are on level 1, will be collecting that amount of money, which is either 70,000, which is other 100,000, depending on what they will agree. But, you know, another thing I've just noticed is that even when they had this strike, the strike even began, I didn't hear anything about the organized private sector. They didn't say anything. Nobody put them into consideration. It was only federal government and labor. What of the organized private sector? They also have a chunk of employers. And already most of them are already complaining or bleeding because of how the economy is. So nobody was taking them into consideration. I'm saying this because I'm in the private sector. Because if, for instance, somebody who has a business is saying that he's still buying diesel, is buying diesel for him to, to run his machineries, and also for him to, do business.
To be business, yeah.
Then how much will he make as profits? That is the biggest problem. And that's why the organized private sector are saying that they cannot go more than 60,000. I don't know how much they will go, but if they say if they decide that they want to go higher than 60,000, citizen, I can bet you some people will lose their jobs. So there's nothing that the NLC will do, because it will happen. Because they will tell you that they are not making money. So the federal government I'm very sure that is why the federal government is also trying to be a bit careful, so that you can't solve a problem and then you now have a bigger problem in your other hand. So they are trying to be as careful as possible. When it was 30,000, I remember in October last year, some months back, the civil society group said 15 states could not pay the 30,000. So if NLC they didn't go all out and begin to do protests then. No. They didn't say they want to go and protest for the states that were not paying 30,000. Even when it was 18, there were still some states who could not pay. So it was right.
You're right.
So now that it's 30,000, some states could not pay. And now you want to increase. If they increase from 30 to 60, which I feel that the organized private sector is saying that is 100% increment. And that is what they can pay. They can struggle to pay. That's what the word they use. Struggle to pay. I think Labour should also look at it because they are part of that committee.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm not saying they can't pay more than that. I'm even saying that they should pay up maybe from 100 and 150. But we also have to, because it's a tripartite committee, the private sector will also have to, bring some things to the table. So the government will be the ones to say, okay, fine, we'll be able to augment in some areas for you so that you'll be able to pay salary and not sack people. The state government will also have to shift ground in some things and say, okay, this is what we need to do so that people do not suffer.
All right.
So that when you collect your small minimum wage as level 1 officer, you will not use it only for either transportation or for only accommodation. You should be able to use it for other things outside those. Because I heard Labour, writing that if you have a family of 4, must every level 1 worker have be a family of 4? No. You understand? So we need this whole thing they have to look at it properly so that everybody in that community does not suffer. Nigeria really needs a minimum wage that will be comfortable for people. Because another thing is that have a minimum wage that is sustainable. Because if you rush into that minimum wage thing, if you rush into it, I pray we do not rush out again.
Okay.
Because it has to be sustainable.
Thank you. Thank you very kindly. Paul, except that in Nigeria, you get the impression that when things go up, they hardly come down. But I think both federal government and Labour should be somewhere in the middle.
They should.
For the sake of the Nigerian worker.
We should get a very realistic minimum wage. But there is something I just want to say. In the National Minimum Wage Act, people just say there's a minimum wage, there's a minimum wage. There are some situations in which the citizens have found themselves. You have a Governor Zulum, visibly doing something for his people.
Oh, yeah.
You understand?
For the everyday man.
Everyday man. And they can feel the impact of their governor.
That's it.
So, even if you pay whatever, and then life is not good for people. Look at, for example, look about CNG buses. Now, if you can bring down the prices of food, bring down the price, if you can subsidize transportation or somewhat make transport costs easy for the people. If you want to provide CNG buses, do so. Whatever you want to do, do it. You will see that people will be happy. Even they will be happy. Even if they can't get the 100,000 or something, you know, they will be happy because prices are low.
All right.
And life is better for the people.
Okay. We hope the problem will be solved once and for all time in the coming days. Okay, to our next issue, the last issue for today. You know, when the first German chancellor and political theorist Otto von Bismarck said politics is not an exact science, he perhaps meant to say that you can demonstrate you are right and the other man is wrong. Hear this. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has asked the Inspector General of Police, IGP, to immediately comply with a court order for the arrest of a former Adamawa State resident electoral commissioner, REC, that's REC, Hudu Yunusa Ari, for prosecution. Recall that the REC became involved in an illegal declaration of election results in the 2023 governorship polls. Well, here we are again.
You know, when the producer sent this topic to me, this topic 4, I just said, dear Lord, what is happening?
With and to my country?
What is happening to my country? See, to tell you the truth, I had forgotten about Yunusa Hari.
Yeah.
So, it was brought to my memory again today. This thing happened, the alleged offense happened April 2023. The man has been on the run. And then PDP is calling on the IGP to make sure that the man is arrested. Meanwhile, there's a bench of warrant that will be issued for his arrest. And then we're still talking about producing him. Are we serious in this country?
Okay.
This is not a... Sometimes we behave as if we are not serious. This man committed...
Well, I think it's having to do with the choices we make as a government, as a people.
Then let's make right choices. Let us for once be serious. See, we need to be very intentional about developing this country. If you're not intentional, you'll just be getting all these, some of these ridiculous...
The man we are talking about, Ari, is supposed to be a lawyer.
Does it matter? Some of the people that are raping, are bleeding.
It doesn't matter.
It's not, no, what I'm trying to say is this. You can be a lawyer and still be a criminal. You understand? You can be a lawyer and be a criminal. So it depends on who you are. You understand? I'm not saying he's a criminal. I'm just saying that being a lawyer does not necessarily mean that you are... Although you are supposed to be upright, yes, but it does not mean that you are...
Be conversant with the law.
Exactly. Exactly. This man, for whatever reason, usurped the authority or the position of the
electoral
the returning officer.
Okay.
Okay. Announced the result. And then it was by now issued. By now we should have even dispensed with it. It should have been
the state was almost going into a tailspin.
It was terrible during that period because there was confusion, you know, at that point until the matter was resolved. It went to court. The woman that was declared governor by Harry went to court, and the court said, no, you're not validly, and she's accepted that.
Yeah.
Right? It's 1 year. And then Harry is nowhere to be found. And PDP is calling upon the IGP. Nobody has to call upon the IGP before he does his job. I don't know why the police cannot get this man arrested. Where is he? Why do we keep having people escaping the custody of you have to disappear to thin air and then nothing is heard of them anymore.
All right. I wonder how Asokwa weighs in here. Asokwa, you have to come in here.
You know, the citizen is very funny. I was even shocked to have gotten this. I thought the man was already in prison. But I know when this thing happened. Adamawa was almost in turmoil, you know, because it was a very, very, very delicate matter. You know, and elections, we know how people are very emotional when it comes to elections. You know, so for him to have done that, I was thinking that by now we won't even have a state called Adamawa. But thankfully, he took the wisdom of those in charge for them to, reverse whatever wrong he has done. And I remember then we were on it. I think Ayo Zubako was the one who was in Adamawa then.
Yeah.
And we were able to, to show to the world who was right and who was wrong. And don't forget, because of how the man looks, the people, some of the citizens actually went to, beat up another man that looks like him. And it was all over everywhere that it was the one that they beat up, So, so you can see that matters. Just imagine if he were to be the one, they would have mobbed him. They actually mobbed another person, and meanwhile he himself escaped. So now that he is back, he shouldn't be walking free on the streets. He should have faced justice. So that next time people will not, even if they give you money, you will always remember that there was once one man who tried to, declare a wrong result, and he was put in prison. So what I've noticed is that we take time for us to justice. Yes, it might take a long time for it to to come to pass. But the thing is, once we know that when people are not quickly prosecuted for wrongdoing, it breeds another person to, it gives another person the confidence to do that thing again and even do even worse. So why not by the time somebody does something wrong and the person has been petitioned, like the IGP was petitioned. So by now, the man should have faced justice. He should have been in the dock. Let him know that what he did was not right. And so that anybody, when we get to another election here, anybody that wants to do it, even before election, people will always remember him.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
But right now, if the man is walking free, nothing is happening. Now the PDP has called the attention of the IGP. And I think the police have to step in for them to be able to set the record straight so that it doesn't look as if they are supporting wrongdoing.
Thank you, Asokwa. And quickly, if you can do it in 30 seconds. So the PDP is not necessarily crying wolf.
Yes, the PDP is not, well, of course, it's not crying wolf, but it may have its own reason why it's doing that. What I'm saying that PDP does not, the IGP does not actually even need PDP.
Okay,
before
to remind him.
He can do his job. Please, we need to be very, very serious in this country. The impunity is too much.
Because people are watching.
Yeah, it's in Nigeria that a former governor will be rescued from being arrested by an incumbent. And there's just impunity. We should not give the impression that it's a country that does not punish bad behavior. If you don't punish bad behavior, people will just keep doing whatever they like, and they can, because they are powerful, they know they have connections, and then they will do whatever they like. This country can't move forward this way. We need to respect our institutions, and those who are in those institutions should be up and doing. And when they are not doing what they ought to do, there should be consequences.
Things like this will always be roadblocks to democracy. Okay?
Yeah.
So, Paul, I hear we must go now, but let me thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
And Sukwa James, we thank you as well for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, then. Dear viewer, this is where we apply the brakes, and we want to thank you for being a part of it. If you missed any part of this broadcast, not to worry. Later tonight at 11, we have a repeat broadcast. It will take your airtime. And, of course, on Sunday, join us from between 1:30 and 3:30 p.m. for a 2-hour stint. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.
That's it. The regular football season is over. What? Yes, it's over. No! Oh, no. But not for us here at Supersport. We've got your favorite players. Only they won't be playing for your favorite clubs. That's because they'll be playing for their countries in Euro 2024, exclusively on SuperSport.
Yeah! Whoopsie. Sorry. That's actually a pretty big deal.
Catch all 51 games of Euro 2024 only on SuperSport. Stay connected to DSTV to watch all the action on SuperSport.
Enjoy the delicious creamy goodness of cowbell with Vitarich and vitamin B9, which supports brain development.
Cowbell, so creamy, so good.
The following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV.
Tired of pans that scratch and stick? Or cookware that takes up valuable space in your kitchen and are of little to no use? Cooking used to be fun, but now it just feels like a chore. Introducing ShopX Gotham Hammered Copper Collection, the perfect cookware to upgrade your cooking experience. The Gotham Hammered Copper Collection features a super durable ultra non-stick surface. Eggs stick to other pans, but with the Hammered Copper Collection, they slide right out. Incredible! Plus, the Cool Touch solid cast handle makes it safe and easy to cook even the hottest dishes. It's oven safe up to 500 degrees, so bake this beautiful chicken stew pizza and serve it straight from the pan. Or this tasty delicious cake that will have your whole family asking for more. Any recipe can be made in these pans, and then it wipes clean with ease, so cleanup is a breeze. Plus, use your hammered copper pan to make homemade pancakes that flips and slips right out. Or make mouth-watering jollof rice or even fluffy pounder with ease, because nothing sticks.
I needed a cookware to keep up with me. The Gotham Hammered Collection has been a game changer. No more burnt meals or hours spent scrubbing pots.
The Gotham Hammered Copper Collection is now available in Nigeria exclusively from ShopX TV. You could be paying over $490,000 for a collection of pans that are not even non-stick. Call the number on your screen now and get it for just 364,950 naira. This incredible ShopX offer includes one 8.5 inches fry pan, one 10.25 inches fry pan, one 1.4 liters saucepan, one 2.4 liters saucepan, one 4.7 liters stock pot, one stainless steel steamer, 4 tempered glass lids. But wait! If you order now, we will upgrade you to the Premier Kitchen Collection at no extra charge and also include one cookie sheet, one round baking pan, one square baking pan, one loaf pan and muffin pan, and one all-in-one food processor that blends, grinds, chops, dices, pounds yam and makes smoothies in seconds. All for just 364,950 naira only. And that's not all. You can get the ShopX Premier Kitchen Collection in 2 easy payments of 182,475 naira. Place your order now and we will deliver the entire collection for free anywhere you are in Nigeria. But hurry, this exclusive ShopX TV offer is for a limited time only, so call now while stocks last. The following was a paid presentation from ShopX TV.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu, do solemnly swear.
Welcome to the program, everyone. There is now a big twist to the ongoing conversation around the new minimum wage. The Nigeria Governors Forum says the 60,000 naira minimum wage proposal of the federal government is not sustainable and cannot stand. They say this will simply mean that many states will spend all their federal allocation on just paying salaries with nothing left for development purposes, and that a few states will end up borrowing to pay workers every month. The NGF says this is not in the collective interest of the country, including workers. The governors are now appealing that all parties involved, especially labor unions, consider all the socio-economic variables and settle for an agreement that they call sustainable durable, and fair to all, as well as other segments of the society who have legitimate claim to public resources. However, the forum urges all parties to consider the fact that the minimum wage negotiations also involve consequential adjustments across all cadres, including pensioners, and cautions parties in this important discussion to look beyond just signing a document for the sake of it. They insist that any agreement to be signed should be sustainable and realistic. Very interesting development, a new twist to the ongoing conversation. Prior to this time, recall that just after the agreement with Labour on Monday, the federal government committed to having the tripartite committee sit for the next 7 days, after which a new figure is expected. But earlier on, Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, said the tripartite committee is close to arriving at an acceptable minimum wage figure. Governor Uzodinma spoke on behalf of the committee at the end of its meeting yesterday, assuring Nigerians that the figure for workers is underway.
We are making remarkable progress. We've made a lot of progress. Discussions have been very smooth, and we are almost getting to the point of agreement by all the three parties. I'm sure by tomorrow, when we reconvene by 11 o'clock, we will reach to some concrete kind of agreement, and that will be the position of that we will present to the plenary for adoption. No, it is not a matter of, we are taking a holistic approach to the whole issue, because it's not about minimum wage. Wages should be anchored around our capacity to generate revenue.
Joining me on the show today is policy analyst and former president of the Nigerian German Business Group, Joe Femi Daguro. Mr. Femi Daguro, thank you for joining us on the program this evening. If you can hear me, let's dive into it. The latest we're hearing is the position of the Nigeria Governors Forum asking for caution, outrightly actually saying that the 60,000 naira initially agreed with by the federal government isn't sustainable. What do you make of the process thus far?
Well, basically, you can understand the fact that even the 30,000, when it was announced, not all the states were able to commit to it or to pay, and not all the manufacturing sector, the service sector. I mean, let's look at it, the public and the private sector. Not everyone can really afford to meet this target. And now, if you increase it to 60, it will still be the same thing. And then people will still have issue in paying. So what they're saying precisely is that, look, not everybody can pay that, and it is just a good thing that we have to take that into consideration. That's why there's negotiation, and that's why there's negotiation. And then when you have negotiations ongoing, they will still have room for this back and forth to see where and how can this be resolved. But at the end of the day, it should be in the interest of the citizens, so that the country will not have to suffer more than it has suffered in the past.
The news that federal government was offering 105,000 naira yesterday was dismissed as fake news by the presidency, and we've also heard a top government official insinuate a lesser figure. Precisely what factors or indices do you think should guide the figure the committee is to decide on now?
First of all, we have to be looking at what is our revenue. How much are we going to make? Can we make even what we have projected for? And we have to look at the inflation as well. So many factors. You see, there's no doubt that, there is hunger in the land. There's no doubt about that. There's no doubt we all see inflation. We all see the trend. But it's just the fact that the citizens are saying, look, if you consider us as important as we are, or we think we should be considered, the government should, tighten its belt in so many other ways as well. And the government is saying, look, we know what we are doing. We were considering you, and we'll still consider you. So it's it is all over the world that negotiation has to be, rounded up at some point, and for the whole thing to move on. So the labor will consider his own movement, his own people, and the government will consider what is coming in and what will go out.
Governors have also now called attention of labor to the fact that it is beyond minimum wage. There is also the consequential adjustments across all cadres, which include pensioners, and the impact it will have on the other sectors of the economy. But labor is saying the new minimum wage must be equal in purchasing power to the value of 30,000 naira in 2019 and 18,000 naira in 2014. Does that make economic sense to you?
You agree with me that we're just still talking about consider. And what they have brought up is quite important as well for the labor to look into that. Because the minimum wage of what the pensioners are earning now cannot be considered to be good enough for them to sustain their living standard. So a lot of all these things, that's why it may take some time for us to really come to that conclusion that what the labor is demanding, what the government is proposing, we come to a point whereby we both agree just very soon. I hope so. But when all these things are coming out, there are facts that has to be considered. These facts must be considered.
Well, we're trying to lay all the facts on the table. If we get a good connection with Mr. Joe Femi Dagoro, but I guess
tomorrow. But then, if we can, I think it would be a good thing. But with all this, and the governors are saying what they can afford and what they can't afford, I believe there will still be more debate. There will still be more consensus. There will still be more to go into these meetings, into this negotiation. But at the end of the day, negotiation can still be going on. It is not compulsory that it has to be only immediately we have to resolve it. Let's start with something. If we start with 70, we can say, okay, we are starting with 60 or whatever amount we agreed on. And in another 24 months, we believe that something, there will have been improvement in our GDP, in our incomes, in whatever we are looking at. And then we increase it by another 20% or by another 25%. We can do it considering that. Not just everything has to be 100%. We can divide it into a certain percentage and with time frame or timeline to say, okay, in another 24 months, this is what we agree. And then in another 24 months, another 6 months, this is what we do.
We lost the audio, Mr. Femi Dagoro. If you can work on that for us so that we can hear you from here. But I want us to explore the potential impact you think this new minimum wage will have on the other sector of the country. Some groups, for instance, have raised concerns about what they call the economic consequences of labor's demand on Nigerians who don't earn salaries. So they are talking about increase in inflation rate, for instance, unemployment rate with the possibility of multinationals and other employers downsizing their workforce if the figure is significantly increased. How much impact do you think this can have on the larger part of the populace?
Everything you've mentioned will surely happen. There will be unemployment. Most people will not be able to pay, especially in the private sector. We have these small and medium enterprises. And the minimum wage is 60,000. Some cannot even pay 40 or 30. So definitely there will be unemployment. There will be redundancy. And that will not be well for the country as well. So that is why I'm saying that a consensus has to be reached, an agreement has to be reached. That let's do it in phases. If the phase one is going to give us a certain amount, there will be phase two, there will be phase three, and we can achieve something concrete. We can be friends and brothers keepers, and we can move on with the system in the government. I think, yes, that is something we should consider. It can be done in phases. It must not be done all at once.
Until recently, when we heard from the Imo State governor, and just today, a press release from the Nigeria Governors Forum, state governors have been relatively quiet in this negotiation. Some have even, gone ahead to announce a new minimum wage, as we've seen, I think, in Edo and in Cross River State. So the concerns that you raised earlier about the ability of state